It's Sue from Snake River Stamping. Welcome. I'm glad you're here today, that you could be with me. Today is Monday, July 14th, 2025. We're in the midst of summer here in southeastern Washington. It's supposed to be a very warm day. It's supposed to be above 100. So, oh my goodness, I'm not really looking forward to that. I start at my church. We start Vacation Bible School this evening. We do it in the evenings from 5:30 to 8, so more families can participate. And it is a wild and crazy time, let me tell you. And it's busy, it's hot, I mean, the church has air conditioning, of course, but there's a lot of in and out and everything with all the kids, and so I'm looking forward to it. I picked up my special t-shirt yesterday that I wear as a volunteer, and I get to take my grandson Teddy with me to Vacation Bible School this year, so he's really excited to go with me. How's the weather been in your part of the world, and what have you been doing this summer? Have you been finding time for crafting? I've been finding some time for it, although it's been really busy at my house. I have found time for my crafting, and I've been wondering. Last week we had our sale on two-tone cardstock, and I was wondering if you got any. I hope you did. I ordered some more of it. I have some, and I ordered some more. I wanted to have a few other colors and take advantage of that sale. Always appreciate that. Have you tried any techniques with it? I'm going to do a few today and share that with you, and hopefully that will help you get your mojo started. You'll want to use some of it and try some of these techniques with it. Some qualities of the two-tone cardstock is that it is lighter, in weight than our regular cardstock. It has a white core, which we use on purpose. Our regular cardstock from Stampin' Up! Is a solid core. It's dyed all the way through, and the two-tone is white core. So, and it's lighter on one side than it is on the other, which makes it useful to use. So you buy one piece of cardstock, you get actually two colors of the same, two hues of the same color, which go together well, and I'll show you an example using that today. And it's really a cool embossing technique, or crumpling technique, or tearing technique, which I'm going to use today with a couple of the cards that I'm going to share with you. I saw this warning at the bottom of my page, but it says extreme fire alert. Okay, it doesn't have anything to do with my computer, thank goodness. Okay, because I never know what to do if it is. Some of my lives are going to be pre-recorded because my husband, if you remember, he broke his hip a couple months ago. That is going very well, but as a result of all the tests that they did, they found that his heart condition is a little worse, and he's going to need some surgery. So we're going to be involved with that for the next month or two, and I'll be like coming and going because we have to go to Spokane, which is about 150 miles from where we live, and to do his surgery, and to do all the testing they need done, and then to do his surgery. So I'm going to kind of be in and out, but I'll be pre-recording my videos. I have them planned for the next month, and they will still be occurring on Monday mornings at 9 o'clock to the best of my ability to do that. So I am going to turn my camera down, and let's see, why is all of this audio right there? Oh, there it is, full screen. Okay, I didn't know where it was. Lost the button for just a moment. Okay, my July specials, just to remind you, a minimum $20 order, you start getting your own Stampin' Rewards, 10% Stampin' Rewards, and that goes as far as you want to order. I mean, so for my personal specials, I'm offering 4 card kits I will send to you in the mail for free. There'll be 2 of each design. I'm using the Impressions of Bloom, the design that I started with, this one with Impressions of Bloom, and I can cut these for you, or if you have the stamps, you can stamp, and they look a little different, but they look like that. It's just, you can put whatever you want on these cards, but I cut all the paper and everything, but you have to have your stamps, your ink, and everything. I will include some gems for you with that. 2 of the cards are going to be the Kintsugi paper, and we'll cut some stuff out for you for that. And so the card kits are with the $40, $50, $60 and above. You get the card kits for free, and of course you get your Stampin' Rewards every time. If you have at least a $50 order, you get the card kits and the gems. Okay, a package of gems. Now the gems for the cards, I'll include those with my card kits with the gems, but you'll get an entire package of gems for your own use. For $60 and above, you'll get the card kits, the gems, and my July PDF, which is unlisted, and you'll get the video link that goes with it that explains how to do that card. So I hope that those things might interest you, to have card kits, and I explained in June how to do these really cute cards using Impressions of Bloom bundle, and with the big oval and everything, and it's a really cute card. But I do have a link for you to do that with. Now last week we did the prairie grass, and we used I talked about using stencils, and I cut my stencils out of vellum, which I found very, very effective, and I shared with you how you can place the stencils. You can use the center of the stencil, you can use the outside of the stencil. Sometimes to make these, I use the I use both the small and the large on this one, and then sometimes I use the large one, and then I had this stencil showing you how to do that. Anyway, that was last week's video on July 7th, if you would like to review that and see how to use stencils, how to make them with cutouts, and making your own stencils. I mean, you can buy stencils, of course, but this is like really, really inexpensive to make your own stencils using vellum, and vellum holds up really well, and you can see through it, which was an advantage of centering everything. So we used the prairie grass last week, and made these really pretty cards, which can be absolutely any occasion that you might want to use them for. So that's what we did last week. And I would like to remind you about Paper Pumpkin. If you signed up for Paper Pumpkin before July 11th, or by July 11th, you will get this Paper Pumpkin box towards the end of July, like after the 21st. That will arrive. You can still sign up for it anytime. The August Paper Pumpkin is Farmhouse Florals. Just subscribe. Oh, this was the June 11th. So July 11th is Farmhouse Florals. And the September one, sign up by August 11th. And it's the Fall for 12 one. And then there's extra dies you can order for $12 that go with all 3 of these, if you would like to do that. Also, later this week, on the 16th through the 18th, from 2 to 10:30 p.m. Mountain Time, which I believe is 1 o'clock our time, in the Pacific Northwest, is the virtual album retreat. If you're a scrapbooker, this is still available, and you can watch it anytime, do it anytime. It's 12 months of scrapbooking, and it's really well worth it. If you're a scrapbooker, you know how much time and energy and cost goes into making, beautiful scrapbooks. So today we are going to be using two-tone cardstock, and I have a couple cards we're going to make, and then I have some that I'm going to share with you that I made just to show you some other ideas. Now, I did make some changes. This was the first one, and this is a corner tuck fold card. That's the fun fold part, but it is using some two-tone cardstock. And as you can see, when you have two-tone cardstock and you emboss on it, for instance, you can sand it using a sanding block. You know what this is? This is just from Walmart, from the nail file section, and to sand your nails and file your nails and things, and it works perfectly. I mean, you can go to the art store and you can buy a sanding block. This works just great on this paper. I mean, if you're gonna sand some wood or something, you might need a sanding block, but this on the paper works really, really well, and it's very inexpensive. I just went to Walmart and bought that, and have used it on this card that I'm going to share with you today. And I did make some improvements because, like I told you earlier, this cardstock, this two-tone cardstock, is thinner than the solid core cardstock. So we're gonna change this up a little bit because this is just a little bit flimsy for what I wanted to be flipping in and out of this corner tuck fold, and it tends, because I'm embossing it, it tends to tear really easy. So we're gonna fix that today when we make our card. So we have a lot of pieces and parts, and I always forget to do the envelopes with you guys, but I do like to do envelopes. And I cut a piece of paper that either goes with or is close to what I'm sending my card, and I glue it to the envelope flap and make sure that still my envelope flap will close. And all I do, well, I didn't glue this all the way. I think I should probably do that. And I put the glue on the envelope. This is the brand new glue, so it's really coming out for me here. I better put a silicone mat under this. And I just put my DSP that I want on there, and this is 6 inches long and about 2.5 inches wide. And some glue did come out over there. And then I just trim around it. And sometimes I have fancy dies that cut edges in pretty patterns, and sometimes I do that if I'm really taking my time. I gotta use my sticky scissors, not my good ones, because it's gonna hit the glue. And I forgot to check my volume. I think it's okay. Yeah. Okay, so then I have a pretty envelope flap, and I just have a little bit of extra here, but makes a nice envelope flap. And then I usually put a stamp of some sort on the front beside the address and things that I send out. So I just wanted to remember to show you that today. that I do decorate my envelopes. So, my card base today, I have a little bit of white extra because I think I might need it. My card base is 8 inches long by 4.5, or excuse me, 4.25, and I scored it at 2.5, so it has a short fold like that. Okay, and I did this one in black, and I did another one in Pool Party, so I'll show you that. Those are just some things I cut out. I was going to show you. My inside is 2.25 by 4, and that is so that it will just fit under the flap like that. And I cut out some of that. I cut out some flowers. I cut some out of the DSP, and I was using Florals of Bloom, which I've used a lot lately. I've used the Florals of, or excuse me, Impressions of Bloom. Florals of Bloom is the designer series paper, and I've linked all this stuff below if you're on YouTube and above if you're on Facebook. And I really like this set. It makes really pretty flowers. It gives these really pretty little impressions on the flowers. They don't cut all the way through, but little impressions on the flowers. So I have various flowers to put on there. Okay, and I cut those centers out. I cut that flower. I cut some leaves, and this is out of the two-tone cardstock. The Petunia Pop is out of the two-tone cardstock. The DSP I cut. I cut 4 leaves, I think, altogether. I have to find that other leaf. Probably in the envelope. So anyway, the inside, 2.25 by 4, and I'm going to stamp that in a moment. Put that to the side. The DSP was Florals of Bloom DSP, and this is one of my favorite colors of DSP, and this is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and we're going to cut it in half diagonally, and you'll have another half to save for another card. You only need half of it, and that goes up here in the corner of that. And then you need, I said cut 3, but actually we're not going to cut 3 of these because we're only going to cut 2, because I decided I need something underneath this two-tone cardstock because it's so thin. So I just put some basic white, and I used Stylish Shapes. I used the large one and then the second largest one to cut this. So the large one's about a 3-inch one, and then I cut this one out of one of these 3 by 3s, and it's a little smaller, and we're gonna emboss that and use the sanding block to make that show up. Okay, so that's what I used on that, and I believe I have that linked. And this DSP is going to go in the corner. This Petunia Pop is 1 inch by 4 inch, and I need a piece. There it is. I need a piece of DSP 3/4 of an inch by 3 3/4. That's going to go right on top of that, and we will emboss that also. Okay, so those are our pieces and parts that we're going to use today. There's my other leaf. There we go. Okay, so we are going to do a little bit of cutting. So one of these 3 by 3s I need to cut for this corner, and then I need to cut this one for a corner. And so before I emboss it, I want to cut it and glue it together. And so to cut this diagonally, this is a square, so I just place it with the edges in the cutting trough. And I haven't done this lately. Sometimes I take a piece of extra cardstock and I get all of the little paper bits and stuff out of that cutting trough so I can get a nice clean cut. So I'm going to place this in my cutting trough carefully. You can tape it down if you need to. This should cut pretty good. Yeah, that cuts pretty good. Now, so I just need one of those. Place the other one over here. Now when you cut the DSP, which was smaller, it was 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. I'm going to place it in the cutting trough because see, I want it a little bit smaller than the petunia pop. And this is thinner paper. And sometimes if you start cutting here, you'll catch the paper and crumple it up and ruin it. So what I do is I start in the center and go up and down to get a nice clean cut, because I want to glue this on and I want to emboss it. And then this is an extra one that goes with this extra one that I can save for another card. So I'm going to glue those together, and I'm going to glue my other petunia pop because I'm going to do some embossing. And this DSP 3/4 by 3 3/4, and petunia pop was 1 by 4. And I'm just going to glue this because it's going to go, I'm going to have one on the side and one over here and then one in the middle, and I'm changing that one in the middle before I put the flowers on. So with my new glue that I need to be a little more careful with, I bring this in. I'm just going to put some glue on here. Looks right side up this way to me. Center that. Now I just put glue down the center because it's, like I said, it's a new glue and I know it's going to spread under there, and I'm going to emboss it, which will push it down even more. And I'm going to emboss this one, or I'm going to emboss this one, so I'm going to put some glue here. I do want to get those tips to stay down. Send that one because it was just a 1/4 of an inch smaller, so it's about an eighth of an inch on each side smaller. And then, because I wanted a back on this one, I decided to cut the pink smaller this time and put, this is just regular basic white. It's not the two-tone, so it's a little bit thicker. And it will give me a more stable base for that center part than I had before. And try to square that up. Nope, not yet. There we go. Trying to push it into place. It's not quite as square as I want it to be. Okay. So I used a different embossing folder on this one. I used Starburst, which was a celebration one. It's not available anymore. So I'm going to use the Eyelet 3D, which is available and it's linked below, to emboss these things. And I can probably emboss more than one thing at a time. And I'm going to place these in the folder. Maybe I'll do these two at once. And just as a reminder, I have my embossing machine on the side because it shakes my table. To do a 3D embossing, I just need plate 1. And all these directions are on plate 1. I need the embossing folder, and you need to put it in with the folded edge first, so it will not break. Okay, then I need my gray plate because it's a 3D, just right on top. And this is plate 4. Yeah, this is plate 4. And I'm just going to stick that in with that. Make sure that my embossing folder So I embossed all of this at one time. And now I'll run this one through. Same thing. Plate number 1, plate number 4. Make sure the embossing folder is folded in first when you run it through. And you can see on the back better that it's embossed, but I embossed all of it. This is the only piece I'm going to be sanding because this piece is the two-tone. And I do have two-tone underneath there, but it's not really worth it to me to try to sand those little tiny edges. And I don't really want to ruin the DSP look that I'm going to use to do on the folder. So now I bring in the sanding block that came from the Walmart nail section, and because this is two-tone cardstock, it's white core, and I can sand off a little bit of the color to make it show that two-tone. Okay, so I just am sanding gently. Oh my gosh, I think I accidentally grabbed, great, I grabbed regular cardstock. I didn't grab two-tone. Brilliant, brilliant. Two-tone. Gotta get my two-tone. I believe I did that. Make sure. Yep, that's two-tone. Okay, just real quick here. Now I gotta cut a couple pieces real fast because I gotta have two-tone or this technique is not gonna work. So I'm going to cut a number 2, and since I'm cutting, I need that plate number 1, plate number 2, plate number 3. I'm going to cut some two-tone, the second smallest one, and I need another plate number 1. There it is. I can't believe I did that. This is what I get for doing stuff really late at night. Okay, this is two-tone, and I need a piece of white. piece of white. And this is just regular, and that's okay because I don't need two-tone on the white. I just need a piece of white. So, you know, these things happen. Okay, now a piece of white. Alrighty. Back to the drawing board. Oh, I can tell this is two-tone now because this is lighter on this side. I should have recognized that right away, why it wasn't lighter. Because of course that's one of the qualities of the two-tone is it has a dark side and it has a lighter side. Okay. So here's my two-tone. Try to keep track of those. Embossing folder. And hopefully this time okay, this should work better. This should work better. Okay, I'll just save this for another project. I'll use that for something. All right, now my little sanding. Oh yes, see? It just right away, it doesn't take much at all. In fact, I would use a very light pressure until you find exactly the amount of white that you want to show through. And I see that some of my little stars aren't getting it. I don't hit them, so I just go back and with the corner of my block, I just kind of try to hit those. I'll bring this closer to the camera in just a second. And now I have, for my sanding, I have that white core showing through to make that really pretty. Okay. All right, we're back on track. All right. So my inside, I'm going to keep track of that. My outside. And I need some dimensionals because this needs to go up on dimensionals so that you can slip that piece under the edge. Okay. I'm going to put that right, excuse me if my head's in the way, I'm trying to get it even. Okay, that goes in the corner, so I have one there, one there, one there, but nothing over here. So I can slip a piece, my piece that I just sanded. My piece that I just sanded, oh, there it is going to go here and it's going to slip under there like that. Okay, so I've already embossed this one, and you don't have to make this exactly 1 inch. I mean, I just did because that was the pattern I saw on Pinterest. It can be wider because this is like 2.5 inches wide, yeah. So you could have a wider piece on here if you would like. Now I'm going to have just a little bit of space on mine, like that. Okay. But before I put that on, I want to place some flowers. And I'm going to look at these flowers I've got. I've got some Pool Party. I've got some DSP. I've got some leaves. I've got some plain Pool Party. I'm not going to use all these flowers because I want some of this sanded two-tone to show. I think I might not use this one because that's two of the same color. Let's see, what do I like? What do I like? I think I might like that. I don't know. Do I like that? Is that too much of the DSP? I just cut one flower out of the DSP. Or do I like this better? I think maybe I like that better. I'll leave those for another time. So I popped one up. Just put one dimensional on there. And I put this in the corner, and it can go off the edge. That's okay. And then I glued these two down. But I just glue in the middle so that I can slip my leaves under them. And these leaves are the two-tone cardstock. So what I'm doing with the leaves is some of it I'm using the dark side, some of it I'm using the light side on the leaves. Okay, so I have light leaves. It's kind of hard to tell on the camera. And I have dark leaves. So I just put a little glue on each leaf and slip it under there. And they've got little from the Impressions of Bloom set. The light leaf and the dark leaf. And I'm going to do a light leaf and a dark leaf down here. So that's just using another element of the two-tone cardstock of having two colors available, two tones available on that cardstock. And so now, if you want, I'm just going to put mine down just a little bit because I've got something ready. Bring that. Sure that this part will go underneath. Need a little bit of white. In this set, I did on the outside, and that's part of this very much on the inside. So I'm gonna because that was my color, and I'm going to cut aside. I used, I think it's Nested Essentials. Yeah, I used Nested Essentials. I used this second largest one to cut that out. And to wipe off some of this that I got on. There we go. And then I'll use my second largest Nested Essential. And I'll just center that on there. And I will use a little piece of tape because I don't want that to slip. I want it to stay put. And I'm going to send that through my die cutting machine. And remember, when I'm die cutting, I need plate 1, plate 2, plate 3, the die cut, and plate 3 again. Now, if you're using a mini die cutting machine, it's a different sandwich. You don't have that plate 2. And take your tape off carefully. Sometimes, because that was a brand new piece of tape, sometimes that will stick. And I'm just going to put this over here. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on there, just on the edge. I'm going to stick it under the leaf a little bit. It's going to stick out. This bends to stick in like that. And now for my inside, I stuck my finger in that. I have thanks. See, that's not quite straight as I want it. Okay, there we go. Thanks. And I want so very much on the inside. And I'm going to put a flower at the bottom, just for looks. So very much. I think I forgot to clean off things. And I think I mentioned this before, but on this particular die set, these are kind of hard to get in the right spot, so I put dots on mine so I know which way it goes and I don't have to spend a lot of time twirling it around and trying to figure it out. So I know these two dots go together. Whoops, maybe if I show you, these two dots go together. So when because this will go face down on a piece of paper, this is the die side, so I can see these dots. And I see my two dots and they go together. I do that on all the ones that fit inside each other. Then at the bottom, I'm going to use these smaller ones, and I use the one with the lines first because it's easier for me to see. And I'm going to stamp off the other one. That's in my petunia pop. And it's just the smallest flower that they have. And then this one is going to go on it, but I don't want it full strength. So I'm going to stamp off a piece of scrap paper and bring that around, and it does a lighter shade of the petunia pop for the little flower. And then I have a center, and I can make the center the same color, or I can make it a darker color or a different color, you know, whatever you want to do with it. And I was going to grab, oh, where is that? I do not see Pool Party. So I'm going to grab Coastal Cabana because Pool Party is MIA. Let me see how this looks. Yeah, it looks okay. And I'll put a Pool Party center in my flower. Well, it's a Coastal Cabana. If I could see Pool Party without looking really hard for it, I would, but I don't see it right this second. So, because that is one of my colors. Okay, so that's my center of my flower. And I just need to put that in. I'm just going to put a little glue on the back, around the edges. Don't get it too close. I mean, get it next to the fold, but not on the fold, so that it's covered up. And when the recipient opens it, they can see it. If you need more writing room, put something on the back. But that is our first technique, using the two-tone cardstock, embossing it, then sanding it so that the white core shows on that. This is this one. And I know you can't, this one, see, it opens and closes a lot better because this cardstock, the two-tone, is really thin, and having that white on the back really helps it to be a little stronger. And flip it. This one, it's bothering me a little bit because I know it's going to tear. Now I would add a few gems to this. I would add some gems that I pulled out in an envelope. I used the adhesive back sparkle gems. Oh, there they are, right there. See, I knew I had a piece out. But that's the sparkle gems I use. Adhesive back sparkle gems. I believe those are linked also. And I used the clear ones to do this one. And I put a couple over here. And I put one over here, just so I could have some sparkly gems on there. And that looked really pretty. So I really like that. So this flower is stamped and cut. This flower's just cut, and this flower's just cut out of cardstock. Okay. So that's our first card. I hope you like that technique. Using any embossing folder will work. The smaller the pattern, the better, I think. I mean, larger patterns work just fine too. It just depends on what your card design is. With this corner tuck fold, I don't have a lot of area, so I wanted a smaller design. And so like this 3D eyelet worked well. And it's hard to see, but the 3D eyelet is also on the edges because I embossed it after I glued it on. So the embossing is carried over, and I did the same with these two. So the embossing is carried over to the edges too. Okay. All right. Now another pattern with that same fold. I did this one, and I would do this. See, this is the two-tone cardstock. I used the Garden and Glass embossing folder on this, so it was kind of a line of embossing because it's a thinner folder. But I used two-tone cardstock and Lost Lagoon, and this is Pool Party. and then these are Lost Lagoon, and then my patterned paper is from that set, Frames and Flowers. It's a set right here, Frames and Flowers, which is linked below. And I would do what I did, doing it over, I would do what I did here, and I would put the white behind it, because again, this is just a little thin. Now I did put some Pool Party behind this to help strengthen it, but I think I'd like this design better of having a larger one and then a smaller one to do that. And I used the Kintsugi flowers. I cut these out of the pattern in the Kintsugi print. These flowers were in there, and I had the dies to cut those out, and I thought it looked fine because it had the same pale pink color. Oh, I can't remember my colors. Petal pink. It had that same petal pink color with Lost Lagoon that looked good together, and I used the Kintsugi, one of the messages there, and this one was from a different set, Thinking of You on Your Special Day. But so that was kind of a birthday thing. There's Beauty in Your History, Thinking of You on Your Special Day, and then there's a stamp that's the same, similar to these flowers. That's why I used that. So that's using the same measurements and the same fold as this one that we just did. And I do like that white edge. That's nice. So using the Nested Essentials dies, I thought that was a good idea late last night when I thought of that, but that I forgot to use the right kind of paper. But anyway, I like this pattern better than just having it plain. Anyway, you can do what you want on that. The measurements are similar to that. Okay, the second card we're going to do is a tearing technique using this paper. And again, I grabbed, and I'm just going to put some tape down this time. And I grabbed this from my stash. There isn't any DSP on this particular card, so I just used some colors that I thought would go nicely with it, and I just taped that on the back, and then grabbed my scissors. This time I don't have the problem of glue because I used the tape, double-edged tape. But I can make my envelope, and I can stamp something on the front if I would like to do that. So then I have a nice little envelope flap on this one. It always dresses up an envelope to put those envelope flaps on there. So this one, this works well with mountains and water. And I did mountains on mine, and I cut strips of color from the two-tone cardstock. I did not like these trees, so I'm going to use different trees on this, the next one I do. This was from Frosted Forest, which is no longer available, but I have some different trees that I'm going to use. And then I cut out a circle and put a stamp on it. You could just do the sentiment with some ribbon or whatever. I just thought this made a nice masculine card with the mountains, and I'm going to show you that technique. So this is a tree that is available from Loveliest Tree. Okay, is this guy right here. And that would look okay on the front. This is from Frosted Forest too. I think I'm going to put this one on the front of my card today. I think I like that one a little bit better, and put my sentiment on the other side. And maybe you have Frosted Forest that looks like that. And I don't know, I looked in here, I used this a lot at Christmas, and I lost one stamp. So I know this stamp is somewhere, probably in another stamp set. I have to take the time to look for it. But anyway, getting back, this is all two-tone cardstock except for the white is not two-tone cardstock. I did use my Nested Essential, no, my Stylish Shapes. Yes, Stylish Shapes. I did use the third smallest circle. I thought that was about the right size for the proportion of this card. To make a die for the front of this. So I'm just gonna, well, maybe I'm gonna wait to stamp and then I'll run it through. Do you think I can keep track of this? I'm gonna put it right here, right there. Okay. So you start out with a card base. And this card base is 8.5 by 4.5, 4 1/4. It's a standard card base. Fold it in half. Okay, I'm going to set that to the side for now. That's our background. Now, this is all two-tone cardstock. This is gray granite. It's got a light side and a dark side. This is Mossy Meadow, and it's got a light side and a dark side. This is Pecan Pie. It has a light side and a dark side. This is Old Olive. It has a light side and a dark side. This is Crumb Cake. Light side, dark side. And then Gray Granite. Ooh, Gray Granite got some pink on it. Light side, dark side. Okay. So those are my strips. I think they're about 2 inches by, yeah, they're 2 by 6 inches. So they're going to go off the edge, but that's okay. They're going to, I'm going to cut them off when I'm done. So I'm going to start with the darker gray granite to make my background, like just, I don't know what it is, just sky. You need to tear down to let the white show. If you tear up, the white's not going to show as like you want it to. So tear down. I don't want these to be like super mountainy. I want it to be fairly straight. So I'm going to try to tear. I do want that white core to show. It's part of my strategy on this card. Okay. And I'm going to let a little bit of the white show at the top and at the bottom. So I'm going to place that. These are going to be layered. Okay. This is what a mountain will look like when you tear it. I mean, it'll be whatever shape you make it is going to be the right shape. Because I did 4 mountains on this one, and I think I would like 3 if I can make that work better. So there's my dark. So here's my light piece. Remember, I'm going to have the light side up. That's what I want to show. And I'm going to tear down. And again, I'm not going super mountainy or anything. It's kind of straight. It's not exactly even, and that's okay, because kind of an abstract look is what you want. Okay, and that will be my next layer. So I have a darker and a lighter. Right now I'm going to do my mountains, And my mountains are going to be out of pecan pie and crumb cake. So I've got dark pecan pie, light crumb cake, dark crumb cake. So I can decide how I want those to be. And this pecan pie, I tore it. This is the light side. I might use that one. We'll see. So I'm gonna tear a dark one. So I need the dark side up. And I just want to start down at the bottom, and I'm going to go all the way to the top, and I'm going to be making a mountain shape, which is basically a triangle, but not too exact. And like I said, I wanted it to be a little bigger. So that's bigger than what I had before. And you can put these up and down because we're going to cover them up. And I do want a crumb cake one. I think I want a dark crumb cake. And 2 inches is a pretty good size for the width, I found. I tried some. Why is that not? Okay. Wasn't tearing it right. It's talking, not tearing. Okay. I'm going to put that one in the center. This one, it's going to rip a little bit off there. Over here, and that one. Okay, I need to start gluing stuff down, I guess. Well, let me keep these. So now I need some green. And I have the darker green, which is Mossy Meadow, the lighter green, which is Old Olive. Get these out of here. I think I'm going to go with the darker green. Now again, I'm going to go straighter because now this is ground. It's not really mountains, but it's more just slight hills or ground area. Pay attention to where I'm tearing, because I want that white to show. Like that. Okay, so those are going to be my I'm going to start building my now don't get to the edge because layers one on top of the other. And I'm purposely making that not exactly even. Okay, I'm going to put this one in the middle. Put these on the sides. These are my ground ones. So I cover up the bottom there. And this is my other ground one. I'm not going to go all the way to the bottom. I'm going to leave a little bit of my white showing at the bottom. Like that. So those, it's my sky, my mountains, my ground. I'm going to add a sentiment. I'm going to add my trees. You see it goes off the edges. I'm using my larger scissors. And I'm going to carefully trim these so they're even with the card. You could do this with your trimmer, but you've got glue on there. And let me tell you, getting glue off your trimmer, a little bit of a nightmare. A little bit. There's a lot of little crevices and things like that. So all right. So now I am going to take my little tree. I do think I like this little tree. Oh, it matches that one. Oh, darn it. I want more contrast. Well, it is what it is. You know what? I'm going to use my fine tipped glue bottle on this one. Because I'm not going to put this everywhere, but I am going to put some dots and let this dry for just a minute so it doesn't squish out too badly. Get some of my edges that I don't want to poke up. Okay, I'm going to leave that on my silicone mat for just a minute while I stamp and cut my grading. So I've got some paper here and some extra paper just in case. Always put the top back on your little bottle so it won't dry out and then get stuck and cause you a problem. No beauty sounds better than a heart of gold. I wonder where I got that. Did I write that down? That's a nice circle one. Oh, I don't know where I got that one exactly. Or maybe it's on this one. Yep, there it is. Ha, found it. It was in this one. Yeah. So, I like this one better. And I'm going to use pecan pie for this. Good, good, good. Now we're just going to cut that out of the circle. And guess what? I remember where my die was. A small miracle. Run this through real quick. So that's pretty cute. Could be almost anything, any reason why you did that one. Step back. So this is now just tacky, which is what I want it to be. And I'm going to put this down here. And I'm going to set a big block on that for just a minute while I talk to you about ribbon. Now you could use some twine. I have this burlappy ribbon that I kind of like, but it's really too wide for this card, at least what I'm using for it for this reason. And because I'm always looking at stuff I have that I've already bought, it's not used up yet. So I found this, and it kind of goes with this card. So I cut it in half lengthwise. So now I have two of them. And I just am going to make this little thing that's going to fit under as flat as possible. And I took a glue dot. With your pick tool. Just get a glue dot off of here. And put it on here so that I can make this kind of like that. I'm going to trim it off. This is going to go up on dimensionals. And this will go underneath it. That should be dry. And I'm going to put this over here, about like that. About like that. I'm going to put that down. Probably another glue dot. They're handy little things. I just put that under there because I want it to be pretty flat. And like I said, I'm going to trim that. Then I put this over the top. And I take my ribbon scissors. And I'm going to trim this at an angle. And this is a woven ribbon. So one of the advantages to that is you can pull some strings off of it. with your fingers. Works better. Just pulling some strings off of it to make it have that little feathered looking effect. I don't want that one. There we go. Okay, so there's that. No beauty shines brighter than that of a good heart. With some trees, this could be a masculine card, could be a feminine card, anything you want it to be. But what we were focusing on was our two-tone cardstock, tearing it. We did mountains, we did sky, we did some ground. It's not even, it's just kind of abstracty. Put some trees on here that looked pretty good. And then added our sentiment. I didn't do my inside yet. I would cut a piece to go in here. I always like to cut a piece to go on my inside, and I did forget to prepare that, but I would cut a piece and probably put sentiment or maybe a tree or something on the inside to make that look good. So I have the flowers for that envelope, but I do definitely like these trees a little bit better than those trees. But I could have actually, I think this is two-tone cardstock. I don't know why I didn't think of this. You could make these trees look like they've got a little frost on them. Now I'm doing this kind of upwards because the branches are a bit delicate. I'm looking like a little bit of frost on the top. Oh, I like that better. Do you see that? So I sanded it a little bit with my sanding block, and it made it look like the trees have a little bit of frost on them, because in the mountains they would have frost, right? So these mountains, they look like they have a little bit of snow on them and the ground and kind of a stormy sky. So I like that. Now another technique besides these two, now I'm not going to make this card, but just talk to you about it. I used another one of my favorite ones, mixed media florals. I love this paper. I just love it. And the two-tone cardstock is the arches back here. It's the blueberry. I picked up the blue in here, and I had a little piece of this, and so I cut this into an arch for the middle with the small arch, and then one bigger was the darker blueberry, and then this is the same cardstock. It's the two-tone cardstock. It's just the other side, which is the lighter blueberry. And then from the set, the mixed florals, I used a background piece that's more subtle, that lets this shine. I folded, this is a regular piece of cardstock, just 8.5 by 4.25, and I just folded this back. I put dimensionals in there to hold it up a little bit, so it's just folded back in half. Then I put my arches on, and this one I did do the inside. Like I said, I like to do the inside. Well, black you need to do an inside because it's hard to write on, of course, but and I stamped some from the floral package. I just stamped some leaves and put "I'm here for you," thinking of you, I'm here for you. So I just, that's another way, is to just noticed that with this kind of two-tone cardstock, you have a darker and a lighter all the time. I didn't sand it. I didn't do any of the embossing really. I mean, I did cut it with dies, but it just showcases the light and the dark tones of the two-tone cardstock, which is nice. Okay. All right, so I hope this gives you some ideas. I do have this month, I have some gifts that should be here this week. I ordered some little sanding tools for you that I'm sending out with the stuff I send for your orders. So if you make an order this month of $40 or more, you're going to get a little sanding tool that I ordered too. And by sanding tool, I mean it's a nail file. It's a small nail file. So these are the cards that we talked about and made some today. We did this corner tuck fold. Then we did our mountains with the tearing technique. And then we talked about this one, just focusing on the two tones that you get with the two-tone paper. So I hope you ordered some of that last week and got some, and that some of these things, you know, interest you in your card making and making, you know, different looks and things that are available to you using this kind of cardstock. Thank you for joining me today. Next Monday is most likely going to be pre-recorded. I am doing painted pears. We're going to make a card set with painted pears that might be able to be a gift if you want it to be, or it can be for yourself, whatever. We're going to focus on the new pear bundle that just came out last week. So thank you for joining me today. Turn this up. There we go. Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you watching my channel and sharing it with people. All of those things really help me a lot with my business. And I do hope that the things that we did today interested you to try something a little bit new and to expand your repertoire of fun folds with using different kinds of cardstock and things like that. I will see you next week. I think I'm going to put something on my Facebook page. I'm going to post the pictures of these cards, and if you make something with two-tone cardstock, I would love to see what you decided to make and share that with everybody. Okay? Thank you for watching today. We'll see you next week.